this drum lesson, we're gonna be looking at the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone split. And I know what you're asking. Stephen, what is the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone split? The Pat Boone, Debbie Boone split is a fill that takes the two components of the very well-known Pat Boone, Debbie Boone fill and puts something in the middle. So you essentially start with a Pat Boone. Charles Eugene Pat Boone is a well-known American singer who's also recognized for his acting, writing, and stellar hairdo. In addition to that, he co-shares the namesake for the greatest drum fill ever in the history of all drum. That's not true, but have a little something in the middle, and you end with a good old Debbie Boone. Deborah Ann Debbie Boone, daughter to the aforementioned Pat Boone, is also a well-known American singer, author, and actress. It should be noted that her hair is not near as stellar as her dad's is. So let's very quickly break apart the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone split. Let's break this lesson up into 3 steps. The first step is going to be learning the skeleton pattern of the Pat Boone, Debbie Boone split. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to be just on the snare drum, and I'm going to go through the accents that are played in that pattern. Now we're going to be subdividing off of 16th notes. 16th notes are counted like this: 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Let's go through the accents in this one. The first set of accents is going to be on beat 1, and that's going to be our Pat Boone part of this, okay? But we're just going to play it on the snare drum to learn the skeleton. So the Pat Boone is simply going to be an accent on the 1 and the and of 1. On beat 2, we start our second group of accents. So our second group of accents is going to be kind of an offset Pat Boone. So we're going to have an accent on the E of 2 and on the downbeat of 3. So if we counted all that and clapped it, it would be 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. And then for the Debbie Boone, the split part of it, the Debbie Boone comes at the end, it's going to simply be 4 E and. Now we're going to play a skeleton of 16th notes and just play the accent pattern so that we can hear what that sounds like. Now that's step 1. Step 2 is going to be actually apply the pattern where it will go on the drum set. So I'm going to take my first accent, I'm still going to play it on the snare drum. The second accent, or the Boone part of it, the Pat and the Boone will come on the high tom. All these are mnemonic devices. Those are devices that help us, they're syllables that help us remember a certain pattern. So they're just a memory tool is all they are. They're just a learning tool. So we're going to have Pat, Boone. Then we have the offset Pat Boone, and I'm going to do the same thing. So the accent on the E of 2 is going to come on the snare drum, and the accent on the downbeat of 3 is going to come on the high tom. Then we have the Debbie Boone. The Debbie Boone on the 4 E and, you're going to play 4 E accented here on the snare, and then the and here on the high tom. So everything goes between the snare and the high tom. The rest of the notes in that 16th note pattern series, I'm going to play as ghosted notes, so that they're more felt than they are heard. And step 3 is going to have 2 parts. We're going to take away the ghosted notes if you want to. If you don't want to, leave them in there. Or you can have 2 variations of this fill. One with the ghosted notes, one without the ghosted notes. The accents are what we're going for. And the second part of step 3 is we're going to take that and we're going to add that fill to a groove. So we're going to play 3 bars of time, a bar of fill. We're going to crash on the crash cymbal, go directly back into the groove, but change sound sources. So go to your ride cymbal, or go to your floor tom, or your rim, whatever. It doesn't matter what voice you go to, just as long as you change after that crash. And what we're doing is we're working on our transitions. All too often I get into a gig, and it's not that I can't play the groove and I can't play the pattern for the fill that I'm trying to play, it's that I can't do them all together. I can't do the transition. So it hangs me up, and whenever I come out of that, I kind of stumble for a couple of beats before we settle back into that. So let's work on our transitions during our practice time as well. And that's all there is to this practical fill. Learn the fill, step 1, in its skeleton format. Step 2 is take that fill and put it actually on the kit, on the voices it's supposed to go to. Step 3 is take away those ghost notes if you want to, or leave them, but definitely add it to a groove and make sure you're working on your transitions. Thanks for tuning into the lesson today. If you're interested in some more lessons, you can follow the link below and download your free video series, 30 Days to Better Doubles. You can also follow these links, hang out with me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Check out the student area on the website by following the link below this video. And be sure and tune in this next week for Diddles and Beats and the Daily Beat on Monday and Wednesday. But regardless of what you do, I'll see you here next time.